Hey everybody, welcome back to South Carolina Spook Show, a special edition episode that I've got for you guys today. I don't get to do these a whole lot, but whenever I do, it's always a lot of fun. Today I'm sitting down and talking with Mark Williams about an upcoming horror movie based in South Carolina, filmed here in Sumter, and I think you guys are really going to dig it. It's called Mary's Lake. Comes out this summer, and like I said before, I'm sitting down with the director, Mark Williams. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of all right. My introduction to Mary's Lake came from a friend of mine, Jeff Wisnett, who shot me the trailer on Facebook, and he was like, "Hey, I know you like horror movies, and we both live in South Carolina. Here's something really special coming up. You should check it out." So I watched the trailer, and I was so excited about what you're doing here, and I was like, I got to talk to this guy. So again, thank you so much for coming on here. I guess like let's just get right into it. What got you into filmmaking, kind of your background when it comes to that?
So basically, I've always been a huge horror movie buff. I grew up loving horror movies. When I was a kid, I got some Fangoria magazines and started reading it, learning about Tom Savini and
Yeah.
Sam Raimi and all these other guys. Became like really idolized them. So I really wanted to go into filmmaking when I was young, but I ended up joining the Army instead due to some financial reasons of not being able to go to film school.
Mm,
And after 23 years in the Army, while I was in the Army, I still looked into it and read
sure.
and learned as much as I possibly could. But I
Yeah.
retired last year on February. And after I retired, I decided to start pursuing filmmaking. So I started learning everything about it, got integrated with the local theater here, Sumter Little Theater,
Mhm.
met a lot of great people, and finally just said I'm going to do it. So I wrote a script and got some actors together, learned everything I could, and started filming earlier this year.
Nice. Well, I want to say kudos to you for taking your dream and just making it happen. That is so hard for a lot of people to do. Me personally, I'm a musician. I've been playing drums since I was like 10 years old, right? And it's always been a dream of mine to join a band, tour the world. You know, every 10-year-old's dream whenever they start playing drums. That's the goal, right? And I've never had the opportunity, and honestly it would be hard for me to take that step. So kudos to you. I'm super happy for you, and excited for this new endeavor that you're on. um so would you say that Tom Savini, I love Tom Savini. I love going back and watching a lot of movies that he's worked on, and seeing what he was able to create with his prosthetics and makeup effects and everything. Would you say he's your biggest influence when it comes to filmmaking?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He was probably one of the first people I got introduced to when I was a kid reading Fangoria. So I
Hmm.
really started following his career. I got the opportunity to meet him once, got his autograph,
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. But yeah, anything and everything Tom Savini does, I've been just all over it. And it was my dream to actually attend his school up in Pennsylvania, but just never
Hmm.
got the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. So, if for those of the listeners that are checking this out that maybe haven't seen the trailer from Mary's Lake yet, can you give us like a quick premise of what the movie is all about?
Yeah, so the movie is kind of like an 80s slasher camp film. I got the original inspiration when I started writing the script, actually from Mary Engelman, who was a lady who was accused of witchcraft in the 1700s. So I read her story, and after I read her story, I sat down and started writing the script. But it's a supernatural slasher film.
Hmm.
So there is a bit of a supernatural to it, tied to a curse that Mary placed on the area. And it's about an escaped convict from a mental institution that gets out and just starts going after all the campers that are getting ready to start a summer camp out in a Mary's Lake.
Yeah. I love it. Honestly, it's all the makings of all these films that I watched as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult, that just made slashers so fun to watch. You got your camps, you got your insane asylums, and you've got all the makings. I love it. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
like camps because the one thing that a camp brings to a slasher film is there's no escape. You're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's easy for like, in your Halloween, which I loved Halloween, but
Yeah.
Halloween's in the middle of a town. Police are going to be there at no point.
Right.
So camp movies to me, I love them because it puts your characters in a place where they can't escape. They just have to try and wait it out before help arrives.
Right. Yeah. I love that. No, that was a legitimate fear of mine as a kid. Whenever it came to camp, the concept of staying for a week during the summer at a camp where there's no contact with outside world is a little bit frightening as a child. That's why I preferred day camps as opposed to that. So I'm right there with you. Um, so yeah, you said you worked with the Sumter Little Theater. How did that come about? I've checked out some of their showings before, and pretty neat group over there.
Yeah, so when I was in the army, I saw that they were doing a play Spam-A-Lot. So I love, anything Monty Python. So I
Yeah.
went and saw it, and they blew me away. I didn't expect that level of talent in
Hmm.
Sumter, and I found out that there are a lot of talented people around here.
Hmm.
So when I retired from the army, I was sitting in a VA hospital, like flipping through my phone, and I saw that there was auditions for a part for Sweat. So I went
Hmm.
and auditioned, and I luckily got the part, and that's how I ended up meeting Summer, which is
Yeah.
Jeff's sister, and she was a stage manager. And not long after that, I was in a second play at Sumter Little Theater, and I just started meeting a lot of very talented people. That really is what made this dream come alive. Is the people that I met at Sumter Little Theater
Hmm.
basically had the expertise and the talent in order to make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. I know Summer. I know Kevin. I've known them for a long time. Actually, Kevin is kind of the reason, one of the reasons how I met my wife, was through Kevin Jarvis. So very excited to see that they were a part of this as well, and everything. You said you retired from the army and have lived in Sumter. Where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from Goldsboro, which is only about 3 hours north from here. So
Uh-huh.
my whole intent for retiring and Sumter was when I was retiring, I was looking at a place that was close to home.
Hmm.
I landed at Shaw, and while I was at Shaw, my kids started going to University of South Carolina in
Hmm.
Columbia. Me and my wife just decided to call it here, and then I ended up meeting such amazing people in the area that we just decided this is where we're going to call home.
Yeah, nice, nice. So, are you familiar with South Carolina, like ghost stories and the true crime and things of that nature?
I am pretty familiar at this point.
Yeah.
That's always been something that I've been interested in. And like I said, one of the inspirations for this film came from the story of Mary Engelman. So I
Hmm.
started watching a lot of YouTube channels and stuff on it, reading on it. There's this lady at the museum that I currently work at that tells me all kinds of crazy stories in the area. So yes, sir, I'm
Okay.
very interested in it.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Same here. That was the whole reason I started this podcast is just because once you go down the rabbit hole, and you start with one ghost story, it leads you to another one, and then same with true crime and just weird happenings. I grew up in Ashwood on the way to Bishopville, so the Lee County Lizard Man was such a big thing. When I was a kid, and everyone, like my sisters, both have like I survived the Lizard Man T-shirts, and that whole phenomenon was just so cool to have like your own home team cryptid that you can be proud of and tell people about. So, so we've talked about like the concept for where Mary's Lake came from. Did you face any kind of difficulties like while you guys were filming that maybe were just kind of like unexpected?
I don't think I really got any unexpected.
Yeah.
Being 23 years in the Army as an officer, planning was pretty extensive for this.
Yeah.
I put a lot of planning. I had plenty of branch plans when things went wrong. But
Hmm.
yeah, that we had some issues, and it was mostly with the human aspect of it. There was going to be times that people just couldn't make it to filming. People were
Sure.
sick. Something would happen. I mean, it was a pretty ambitious project. A
Hmm.
lot of people told me I should start with a short film, but I was just like, I want to go full feet. I want to just
Yeah.
jump in the pool here. So I have a cast of around 20 people, which are all volunteers.
Hmm.
So the human aspect of making sure I could get all of them at the same time at the same place was probably the biggest obstacle I faced during the entire filming process.
Yeah. Well. and that that happens, right? It's that's to be expected. Did you have anything like going back to horror, like just horror films in general? You hear about some movies like Poltergeist or The Exorcist where maybe they faced some spooky happenings while they were filming. Did you guys encounter anything like that?
Unfortunately, that would have been cool, but no, I
Oh.
didn't. Didn't experience anything like that. About the only thing I experienced that could be considered paranormal during this is, I said I work at the museums, but the
Yeah.
Williams Price House. One day I was trying to get out of work so I could get to filming,
Hmm.
and I saw someone in the window. And I went and searched, and there was nobody in there. So I put the alarm on and left. And then that's when what the lady at there told me that there's a lady, that ghost that haunts Williams Price House. So she was trying to keep me from filming one day.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I would fall in the camp of if something spooky did happen, I would be really I think I'd be more excited than actually like terrified. So haven't come across anything like that. I kind of want to do some ghost hunting things and like, go to Charleston because that place is crazy haunted.
Mhm.
And like, go to the old jails and things like that. But just hadn't done it yet. Maybe one of these days. And I'm always kind of hoping something will happen while I'm over there. Um, so another aspect of filmmaking, one thing that I like in particular, whether it's horror movies or it's superhero movies or whatever, I love an Easter egg. I love watching watching things over and over and over again. I look at every single corner, try to pick up on things. I go to YouTube, I watch breakdowns of everything, scene by scene, and maybe something I missed. Are there any kind of like cool Easter eggs that you dropped throughout Mary's Lake?
There are a bunch of cool Easter eggs. It's mostly love letters to some of my favorite actors and scenes in horror movies and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So there are quite a few little ones, nothing that's too blatant. I think
Yeah.
the most I'll tell you this one. The most like in your face obvious is the detective, and its last name is Campbell, and Bruce Campbell is by far my
Ah, yeah.
favorite actor of all time.
Okay.
Love
All right.
that guy. So
Yeah.
Detective Campbell is in my eyes was based off of a Bruce Campbell character, but not as zany and as wacky as you see in some of the movies. So that was kind of my first pitch, and then one of the main other actors is Sam, which Sam Raimi, the Bruce, because
Yeah.
absolutely like when Evil Dead 2 came out, I was like a freaking kid, and like Christmas morning, that was just completely different movie. And then when I
Yeah.
learned how Sam Raimi got started, he did the same thing. He just grabbed
Yeah.
his camera, went at the woods with his friends, and started making movies. And now he's
Right.
where he's at. So he's kind of like a big inspiration for me. So I made sure I paid a little bit of a homage, but not like a blatant in your face kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love name, kind of like the little name drops in there every now and then. I'm a big Scream fan. I've always loved the Scream franchise, and it's a very meta movie. They're very aware that it's a horror movie, and they have all the names with Loomis and everything. I love Halloween too. Halloween and Scream are probably my two favorite franchises, and so I love all the little name the name drops that they throw in there. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to analyzing every single scene and be like, huh, I wonder if this is a thing. And I'll follow up with you and be like, I need confirmation of some of this stuff here.
Definitely.
So after Mary's Lake, because now it's you guys are completely done filming and everything. We're just waiting to release it this coming summer, correct?
So right now we've done the filming, and I'm
Uh-huh.
still in the editing process. So
Sure.
this is 100% editing. I've spent the last month editing it. I probably have another month left to go, and I will submit it to. I'm eyeing two film festivals right now.
Hmm.
One in Columbia, which is the Crimson Screen Horror Film Festival,
Hmm.
which is in Columbia from May 9th and 11th, and then the Moonless International Film Festival, which will be here in Sumter on
Hmm.
May 16 to 18.
Okay. Okay. Um, so after Mary's Lake, is there any plans for any more South Carolina based horror films in the work for you?
Well, I mean, I wrote Mary's Lake to be sequels. It
Nice.
is 100%. I went in with a thought process of this is going to be multiple movies.
Cool.
Because they're when you watch it, I'm hoping that there's a lot of unanswered questions at the end. Everything should make sense, but there's some unanswered questions. And I had a couple people, I was like, I don't understand why this. And I was like, that's part two. And part three, it's not now. So I gave you enough to make everything make sense, at least I hope.
Yeah.
But the idea is Mary's Lake, I wrote that to kind of be kind of like my Friday the 13th. It is going
Yeah.
to be at least three movies that I want to do with that. So the next thing I have on my docket is I have two short films that I want to film. I just don't, until I get something off, I can't do another feature film.
Sure.
So one is Carlos Waters, one of the guys from Sumter Little Theater. He wrote a really, really good thriller type short, which I'm going to help him do.
Okay.
And then after that, I have a short that I'm doing about Mary's Lake, which is kind of a prequel. To kind of give a little bit more backstory on one of the incidences that happened in the movie.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I love that. I also love tie-in shorts and tie-in comic books and everything. Anything to expand the lore. I'm a huge fan of. So, and you said you're doing all the editing as well on this one. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So I practically kind of jumped in and did everything first this go around because I mean, when you're walking around asking people to be in your movie, not a lot of people take you serious at first. It's like a sure, yeah, let's go to the woods with your iPhone. But like, I don't think people took me as seriously
Mhm.
as they thought I was taking this.
Mm.
So I took it upon myself. Not that I couldn't trust anybody, but I just couldn't trust anyone to have the same commitment that I have for it. So I basically did everything with this. I had a lot of help along the way, but when it came to sound, lighting, filming, directing, storyboards, everything,
Yeah.
the editing process, I've taken all upon myself, which I think is going to be good for the long run because I'm going to better appreciate when other people are doing it for me.
Yeah.
And it's something I do want to change going forward is releasing a lot of that extra responsibility to others.
Yeah. Well, again, kudos to you. And my only experience when it comes to editing things and even film editing, or not even film editing, it's just video editing for me. It's very, very, very minimal. It's the podcast level of all that. And I know how much of a daunting task that can be and how overwhelming it can be and time consuming. So kudos to you for pushing through that. And like you said, this to kind of kick things off, like doing it yourself, it gives you an appreciation for other folks that are doing it later on down the road as more movies come out. And you said Kevin Jarvis did he do all the music for this
Yes.
movie? Okay.
He's done all the music. Some of the songs are from previous bands that he's been in that he
Hmm.
wrote for, and then he personally wrote a lot of the atmosphere tracks for me.
Cool.
This came about because I asked Summer if I could use her use some of her property for my filming so they could reduce the amount of permits I had to get
Oh
used the
yeah.
state parks. So she said, yeah. And when I showed up, they came out, they were very interested to see it all. And, maybe when we showed up and they saw that I was legit on how I
Mhm.
was going about doing this, they kind of asked me, is like, what are you thinking about music? And I was like, I haven't figured that one out yet because I was looking at a bunch of different websites where you could buy music and
Sure.
everything. So that was going to hurt the budget. And then Kevin was just like, if you want, I'll do the music. So I was like, yeah. So he went and
Yeah.
he started sending me some tracks. And I think he was a little cautious, maybe thinking I wouldn't like them. But I immediately hit him back, like, man, I love this. Because I told him
Yeah.
I wanted 80s like
Yeah.
vibe music. That's what I
Yeah.
want. I wanted it to be like kind of a callback to all those
Yeah.
movies that I love, the nostalgia. And he did a wonderful job. I couldn't thank him enough for what he's contributed to the project.
Yeah, I'm sure giving Kevin Jarvis the green light to use a lot of synth was just right up his alley, and he was probably like, "Hey, you want more synth? I'll make sure you got more synth." Yeah, I've known Kevin a long time, and like I said, he was kind of like one of the reasons of how I met my wife. My
Mhm.
wife, took guitar lessons from Kevin, and I've just known him over the years of playing music in Sumter here. And we've crossed paths a good bit, and we've played music together before. I've used his studio to record some stuff before, so me and Kevin go way back. I was excited to see that he was a part of this, and doing the music for you. So super super cool. So Is there, so we know the movie is planning to come out this summer. Where can folks go to find out more information about how they can watch it whenever it's available?
So as soon as I know, I'm going to put that out there. So as of
So
right now,
TBA.
when you make a movie, you got to start, you got to throw it in the festival circuit and
Sure.
then hope that people grab onto it or producers grab onto it to help you distribute it. If I
Yeah.
don't get distribution, most likely what it's going to end up doing is it's going to play at Sumter Little Theater.
Okay.
And then I'm going to look at my own way of distribution, whether it's just through YouTube or it's going to be through DVDs. But as of right now, it really is dependent on how well it does in those the festival circuit, which we'll start seeing pop up this summer. Actually, it's going
Yeah.
to get to as many festivals as that'll take it, and then hopefully, production company picks it up and starts helping me push it out. If not, then we'll probably play it at Sumter Little Theater, and then maybe eventually release on YouTube for people to go and watch.
Awesome. I love that. And I'm excited to see where this goes. And I'm excited for my listeners who maybe haven't seen the trailer yet, that they can experience it and get the chance to watch it whenever it's available. Is there anything else about Mary's Lake that you want to just put out there for the listeners? Any kind of special information or updates for them or anything like that?
Has not really that much more I can think of. I mean,
Yeah.
other than if you like 80s slasher movies, I think you'll love this. Like I
Cool.
said, I finished the rough cut just last night.
Yeah.
So I sat down and watched it for the first time in the entirety, and it is like almost exactly how I wanted it. Now
Okay.
there's little things, but I absolutely love it. So I think if you're the person who liked watching USA Up All Night as a kid and watching B-rated horror, watching 80s horror, like
Yeah.
I think you'll love this.
Awesome. So, and I know you said that you've got sequels planned to come out for this one. Can we expect a big twist, like twist ending? Like I'm talking like Sleepaway Camp, like type of twist at the end or something.
In fact, Sleepaway Camp was one of the movies I had in mind when I wrote
Okay.
this. That was one of my favorites. So yes, there is
Cool.
a twist at the end of this movie.
Okay.
I tried my best, and I'm hoping my goal was that 50% of the audience would say, "I saw that coming." The other 50 would be like, "What the crap?"
Yeah.
Kind of that. So I didn't want it to be so out there that people, wasn't believable.
Right.
So a smart, observant person will probably understand or see the twist coming, kind of like in a sleepaway camp.
Right.
But yes, there is a pretty big twist at the end that I'm hoping most people don't get, and they kind of freak out when it happens.
Okay. I love it. I'm excited for that. Well, Mark, thanks again for sitting down with me, taking some time out of your day. I know you're a busy man, especially with all the editing going on, and how time consuming that can be. I guess for right now, if any of you listeners out there want to stay up to date with where the progress of Mary's Lake, it's I'm sorry, M.A. Williams Films on YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, all that, correct?
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
M.A. Williams Films on all the channels.
Perfect. Yeah. And that way you guys can go check it out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, stay up to date. And that way when more information is available, you're aware of it. So Mark, thank you again. I really do appreciate it. I was so excited to talk to you. It's the second I saw the trailer, I was like, I gotta reach out to this guy. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And we'll be sure to have you back on at some point if you would like, so we can kind of talk about the progress of things and the sequels coming up.
Definitely. And thanks for having me on. This has
Yeah,
been great.
absolutely. Thank you, sir.